Hello, welcome back to the James Rambling Reviews for yet another episode, and in today's episode I'm actually going to be bringing you the final episode of the Shrek Marathon, where I'm going to be talking about my entire thoughts on Shrek Forever After. Before I get into that though, I will quickly mention this, that I will be linking down below all the Shrek reviews, so that includes the first Shrek movie, second Shrek movie and third Shrek movie, so there's that. And just before we get into this, I want to quickly mention this, that I am absolutely happy that you guys are absolutely enjoying this review show, kind of like Shrek deep dive, kind of raw thoughts thing I've been doing because of that Shrek 5 announcement, because I noticed that the original Shrek review we did is over like 100 views now. It's unbelievable. And I think the other Shrek reviews, they're slowly crawling up to like 50, 60, 70, 80, 90, 100 views. And happy to say that at least. But I'm not going to go on about that because this review is not about me reviewing views on my channel. This is about talking about Shrek Forever After. So Shrek Forever After, for those who don't know, is the fourth Shrek movie in this franchise, right? And the plot of the movie is this point where you get to see Shrek again, you get to see Fiona again, you get to see all these characters again, but it does have this interesting twist to this pivotal point where the franchise has a whole new concept, a whole new villain, and what do I mean by that? So this movie kind of tackles this whole thing about how a certain decision affects how your life will turn out, and what do I mean by this? So Shrek in this movie meets this guy called Rumpelstiltskin, and you get this whole opening scene where you get to see Rumpelstiltskin, the king and the queen, kind of signing the contract, and then you see all this dark skies and all this dark stuff going on where it's kind of depressing, and you see stuff like that and all that kind of stuff. And then when you get to actually see Shrek and Rumpelstiltskin meet in this movie, it's to this point where Shrek has to make this decision, and then Rumpelstiltskin tries to like manipulate and kind of like say to Shrek like, you better sign this kind of thing, and that's what it feels like. And so when Shrek finally signs this contract, he gets this message at the end of it where he's kind of confused by this, and then Donkey kind of helps him here. And what happens is that it says he's got to find the true love kiss or whatever and kiss Fiona once again. And so that is what this movie is really trying to say about Shrek, is that he's so down on luck, so down on life, that he just needs Fiona again. And so that's what this movie is all about, really. So there's that. So as for how I actually feel about Shrek Forever After, well, if you know about my thoughts on Shrek 3, for example, I did say that I had a lot of fun with that movie, and it was a mixed bag of emotions for me. Like, those points where I really did enjoy this movie, and it was really fun, and then those other points where you're just kind of repeating the same stuff from the previous films. So, but the thing about Shrek Forever After is that I would say that it is pretty watchable, but I would say that it's not as good as previous Shrek movies we have seen in this franchise. And what do I absolutely mean by that? So Shrek Forever After has these points where it just tries to be way too funny for its own good, tries to be way too serious for its own good. So there's this whole gag in this movie where Shrek is at this birthday party, and then this kid has like a lollipop in his hand, and he's like, do the roar, do the roar, and it just kind of gets repetitive, and you see the camera shake, and it's like roar, and it just doesn't come off as fun, charming, or anything. It just comes off as a bit forced, and it just needs to happen because we know Shrek is the angry ogre, and you need to get out of his swamp, and that's what the movie does. It's kind of like the movie where it kind of makes fun of its own franchise inside of its own film, and it just felt a bit awkward and a bit cringy sometimes. And for a while there, it's like, oh, the jokes don't land as much as some other films here. There's points where the serious moments just don't hit the same ways. And the good thing about the Shrek franchise was that they could balance all the dark moments with the humour. But because see Rumpelstiltskin, he works on paper, but the way they kind of write him in this movie, he just doesn't come off as a very, very like compelling villain. he has a really silly cartoonish voice, and I get that he's trying to be evil and trying to like make people kind of brainwash and saying you need to sign the contract, I am the new king of this world, and it does that to it, and there is a fun kind of fantasy element on paper there, but it just doesn't work entirely. So that's what I would say about it. And as far as other things, there is a plot line in this movie that just doesn't really resonate well, especially when you know that Shrek has this deep love for Fiona, and how he just like the whole thing with Fiona, she also signs the contract and she becomes this like warrior barbarian that just hates Shrek, and they try to start a war where they hate Shrek and they hate his people. It's like, yeah, you suck, Shrek, we want to destroy you, and it just comes off awkward. And when they try to kiss in that moment, it's like, oh, this is a bit annoying. And then when the movie tries to wrap up the entire franchise as well, it just comes off a bit rushed and a bit left to be desired to that point where it's like, yeah, you tried to do all this in the one process and this whole thing, and it's like, oh, it just doesn't have the same impact. And that's what I would say about this movie, and I would go on for ages on end here, but that is how I would say about Shrek Forever After, is that it's not the worst animated movie of all time, but when you come to think about it, about the Shrek franchise, it's one of the weaker additions because it has all of these interesting ideas on the paper, on top of that stuff where you get to see these ideas play out, but overall it just doesn't work entirely. And so there's definitely that. It doesn't even top the first two Shrek movies. So a Shrek 5, it's going to be interesting to see if they're going to be able to top the other, like Shrek 3 and 4, like where we're going to see a compelling storyline going on and it's going to be funny from beginning to end. So there's that. So that's what I would say about Shrek Forever After. I would give this movie like a 6 or 7 out of 10. Even with the insane amount of flaws of this movie, I would still go to say that I would absolutely watch Shrek Forever After way more than like Pool Man and Longlegs. And so yeah, that's it. I tried to record this review a few times and I realised that I was trying to record it and it didn't come out well, and I would talk about things for ages on end and it just felt a bit weird. So there's that. So yeah, that's the review. See you tomorrow for House of the Dragon, as I will be covering that again, and I'll stay tuned for more reviews like that. So yeah, bye.